Hello! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Eva. My channel is called The Ink Reader. I am usually talking about books, but in this case I'm gonna talk about what I watched recently. And sorry, I've been filming for hours now. I am exhausted, but I wanted to put this out. I want to tell you what I watched because I got few bad things but good things that I want to recommend. And as always, I'm gonna divide these through categories. So without further ado, let's get into the categories. Movies. First movie I've watched last autumn was Tomb Raider, the one you can find on Netflix, the new version with Alicia Vanderberg. I'm butchering the name, but that new, not Angelina Jolie, basically. Watch this. I think it was well done, but I do miss Angelina Jolie, and in my mind Angelina Jolie is Lara Croft. Cool action scenes in it. I gave it 3 stars. I rate things as I do on Goodreads for books, so from 1 to 5, 5 being excellent, 1 being shit. So this was a 3. It was in the middle. It was okay. If you like the genre, if you like Tomb Raider, definitely give this a try. It is worth it. It's just, you know, one of those movie that you watch once, you enjoy, and then you move on. The second movie I watched also on Netflix was The Snowpiercer, and I did watch this because I heard someone talking about really positively about it, so I was really curious, but I was unfortunately really disappointed in this movie. Before I start saying why I did not like it, I want to mention 2 things that I think are good. I did like the idea of a train. I think it was really original, and the fact that people living this train and this train having each carriage like being its own environment and being so different from each other, that's really cool. And I also think the premise is really good, and I think it was really well directed, and the actors did a really awesome performance. So keep that in mind, that I do recognize all these things. However, I did not like it at the end of the day because I found it predictable. It's like any other horror movie out there. You start with a bunch of characters, and by the end of the film you watch them die. And do not hate me because of my opinion, but I do not like those kind of movies. Like, I know what's gonna happen. It's like when you watch or read the Battle Royale, you know what's gonna happen. It's like the Hunger Games, you know what's gonna happen. Although that one I did enjoy a little bit more because of the uniqueness of the plot. In here there is so much gruesome content that I do not think it was necessarily appropriate. I mean, I get why, but this movie just grossed me out, and at the end of the day I was like, did you gross me out just to make me see another movie where everybody dies off slowly in 2 hours? Exactly. So that was my reaction. So though I recognize the good sides, I do not think this is original because of the way they went through it. Does it make sense? The premise is cool, the scenery is cool, and the actors are really good, but the plot and what happens from the start is really predictable, and they just add gruesome deaths to, I don't know, gross you out to get to the same point, the villain making the same discussion at the end that I've heard before many times. So I did not find the motives behind these and the reasons why we see them killed off peculiar or special or worth it at the end of the day. I said that, but if you like horror movies, you're gonna probably enjoy this. If you like slasher movie, you're gonna enjoy this one. These are not my kind of movies. I didn't think it was gonna be there, so it can be very well my fault, but I gave this movie 2.5. Then I watched again my list. Not my list, it's on my list, but it's among my least favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. Now, if you know me, Quentin Tarantino is my god. Quentin Tarantino is my favorite movie director ever. He did some of my favorite movies ever: Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction, Django, The Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Loved them to pieces. Inglourious Bastards, it's among my least favorite of his. I gave this movie 3 stars because even if I do like his style, even if the end of this movie it's worth it, everybody should watch this movie, because this movie, just because of Quentin Tarantino's style, is still worth it. It's still unique. And the end, the last sentence that Brad Pitt says at the end, it's just genius. I just love his things. I have to be objective and recognizing that I did not love this movie as much as others. So taking away the end, I did not understand why we focus so much on the story of the cinema and of the girl and not on the Inglourious Basterds themselves. So I think my main issue with that is that I do not care about the plot of the cinema. I do care about the Inglourious Basterds, but they are so little in the movie, consider all the other things going on in this 2 hours more movie. So I just do not enjoy the majority of the plot because of that reason. I also do not usually enjoy movies regarding Second World War II, fiction, books. It's an issue with me. I do not like those kind of movies. Apart from La Vita è Bella, Life is Beautiful from Benigni, which is one of the best movies I've ever seen since I was a kid. But apart from that movie, war fiction is just not for me. War movies, not for me. I've tried them all, cried. They're heavy to watch for me. They're not my cup of tea. I just do not enjoy them. So you take that with also the fact that I don't really care about the cinema plot, and that I did want to have so much more of Inglourious Basterds where we don't get. That's why I gave this movie 3 stars, but it's still a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's still worth watching it. It's still unique, and again, I love the ending. Love the ending would be a 5 stars. So if it was just all in the vibe of the ending, it would be a 5 stars. Fast and Furious 8, found that on Netflix, watched it. It's a guilty pleasure. It's fun. It doesn't require any brain cells to enjoy, appreciate, but it's full of action. It's one of the movies that I do enjoy, but at the same time makes me laugh for how pretentious it is. And I have to say though that the scenes with the cars and the actions, I do love it. It's just a fun, good time for 2 hours, and it's just, yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. 3.75 stars. Considering that I do rate them according to their genre. So if I had to rate them for their depth and or anything else apart from, you know, just entertainment, it would not even reach 2 stars probably. So keeping that vibe in mind, it's good, it's well done. I did enjoy it at the end of the day. And then I watched In the Shadow of the Moon on Netflix, which is a Netflix original film if I'm not mistaken, and this is a sci-fi movie, and I was not expecting great things, but I ended up giving these 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and it's one of those movies where you watch it and at the end you can have a discussion about what happened and what's your theory about what happened and what's your theory about the end. And I do love movies that make you think and that are on occasion to got a discussion with the person who, or with the people who watch the movie with you. They left you with a lot to think about, a lot to discuss and exchange opinions, and this was one of those kind of movies. And the plot is a bit tricky to tell, but basically you follow 2 detectives and then you got this murder, killing of people, and then a few years passes and the same murderer who was shot dead, was killed by the police, is back and is killing again. And you say, how? I saw the person die. How can this person still be going on? I don't know how many years later, but I think a bunch. And she's back, she's in front of me, killing people again. And it's really interesting. It's sci-fi, but with a twist, and it's really well crafted. The plot is really interesting, and it will make you think the best movies I've seen in 2019, plot-wise. And it's one of few movies that actually I got around to talk about it for like a day, so it was really cool for that. So 4 stars, full 4 stars. And I went to the movie theater and I watched Joker, and so that's a tricky one, because on one side I loved the performance. I think Jacques Phoenix, how you say Jacques Phoenix, I don't know, but the actor who did also her, if I'm not mistaken, he's brilliant. Having to like stood up to the legacy of Heath Ledger, it's hard, and he did it perfectly. And this movie is unique, and it's a movie that it's worth a watch if you can handle really extremely gruesome, extremely psychologically heavy stuff. So I think, and this is really weird for me because I do like all those kind of things together, but this movie disturbed me. So I went out of the movie theater feeling like fuck, I need to watch some Peppa Pig or something. I need a break. And I don't know, I was probably not in the right mood to go and watch a movie like that, because I think that took away from my enjoyment. I found it so emotionally heavy that I kind of could not stomach it by the end of it. I was like, and I can handle violence, I can handle psychotic people, that's my thing, that's my job, and so on. So I was like, why I am so disturbed by this? I don't know. It might be the scenery, it might be the environment, and this everything was gloomy and gruesome and shit. And to be honest, I see not exactly like that, but I see a lot of that environment in my everyday life. And so, and the job I do, it hit too close to home. Does it make sense? And so I was disturbed, because it was like the worst case scenario of events and places that reminds me of things and people that I meet in my everyday life. And so it disturbed me to a point that I kind of like, okay, I kind of did not enjoy this, which is weird, because at the same time I do recognize how brilliant it is, and how realistic, and how a perfect portrait of psychosis, and a perfect portrait of this guy suffering from mental health escalating for the worst, and why he did that, and all the reasons behind it. And I felt for the Joker. I felt so much for him. I felt so sorry, to a point that you want to hug him and say everything is going to be all right, but at the same time you have to run from him because he's going to stab you to death. So brilliant movie, but it was heavy to a point that it did not resonate well with me. So I gave this movie 3.75 stars, and I stick by it because I think it's a movie that you have to be ready for, and you have to prepare yourself for. And if you're not in the mood, or you don't think you can handle all those things, do not watch this movie, because it's gonna stick with you and it's gonna give you nightmares. And that's its intent, but it's not always the intent of the person who goes and watch it. Doesn't make sense. I think people played it down like, oh yeah, I'm gonna see the Joker because it's cool and everybody should see him, it's just all the rage right now. But I don't think everybody is able to handle such a heavy movie, and it's heavier than I thought it was gonna be. Then I watched the new Robin Hood on Netflix. Again, Robin Hood is not really my Disney movie favorite ever. I never clicked a lot with it. I did enjoy a little bit more the Russell Crowe one. This one, it was okay. It was cool actions. It was just okay, though. 2.75 stars. I'd recommend to watch it. Probably not necessarily, unless you love Robin Hood and you just want a really easy night and just an easy movie to go through. So in that case, yes. But I don't have much to say about this movie because it did not stick with me at all. But I didn't hate it or anything. It was just okay. Two other movies are really popular, and I watched them, and I did not like them as much as other people did. So yeah, let's start with the hate, shall we? So second to last movie that I watched last season was The Irishman, and by Martin Scorsese. I want to premise that I really enjoy Martin Scorsese's other movies. Not every one of each of them, but the majority of them I really enjoy. He's one of those directors where when he puts a movie out, I'll go and watch it. So I also love to pieces Al Pacino is top with my actors. Like, if you tell me, Eva, who are your favorite actors, I'd say Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Leonardo DiCaprio, and so on, and I can go on. So Al Pacino is there, Robert De Niro is there, so for that reason I gave this movie 3 stars, because of the acting, because such dear actors to me were in that movie. However, this book is 3 hours long and it was dull. Sorry, it was dull. And also, if on one side I found it really realistic how you have this main character and you follow him throughout all his life and you do not see any progress. So this character has some beliefs and way of dealing with life and things, and he carries them on until the end. He doesn't change, he doesn't improve, he doesn't learn from his errors. I'm sorry if you perceive the end differently. I didn't. I saw someone who, yes, was apologetic, but at the end of the day was unable to change. And that's extremely human. It's extremely real to life. So for that reason, I applaud Martin Scorsese, because it takes courage to tell the story of someone who doesn't change. You got a movie with a main character who does not progress, because usually in a movie you get, you know, someone does something bad or like goes through life and then you get a resolution. It could be for the worse, could be for the better, but you get at one point this character takes a turn, and this character doesn't, and it stays pretty much the same, and he does what you would expect him to do. At one point actually I thought, no, come on, he's not gonna do it, he's gonna change, he's finally gonna change, and then he doesn't. And so yes, real, but on the other side of someone who just enjoys a movie because a movie is not life, because in a movie I can dream, I can see people actually change, I don't have to deal with the shit I'm dealing in everyday life where people are not usually changing. But a movie is something that makes me dream, it makes me think about new possibilities, and it's like a 3 hours, 2 hours time where I can see a story plays out differently than it would in real life, and then it doesn't. And as a, you know, as Ava in real life, I appreciate it, but as a person who just enjoys a movie and just living a reality that's not truth to life, I found this movie a bit disappointing and dull because it's long, it's really political as well, but at the end of the day disappointing because we get a flat line and the line stays flat throughout the movie. So sorry, I know that's an unpopular opinion, did not have anything to do with the acting or anything of the sort. I do respect what he does, I want to separate myself in real life from myself, like just enjoying a movie. And as me just watching the movie for the sake of watching a movie and taking out something, I didn't. I took out, you know, yes, that's real life, but disappointing. Irishman is about a hitman for the mob and his life. And last movie I watched was Birdman. Found this on Netflix, heard mixed things about it, I wanted to try, and this is, I would say, a magical realism movie where you got our protagonist who used to be a really famous actor because he was portraying a superhero, and then later in life his fame has faded and now he wants to put up his Broadway show and do something different, something that is not related to him being a superhero anymore, but him just being an actor. So he gets another bunch of actors and put up this show, but he keeps living in the shadow of his superhero who was his alias for so many years. And this is another movie I gave 3 stars because, again, I respect what he does. I did like the ending, it made me discuss and think, but the actual movie itself I did not particularly enjoy. So it's a topic that I usually would not appreciate and not like necessarily look forward to a movie like that, but it still made me like appreciate what it was saying and doing. So for what it was really positive, so it's like, it's okay, it's a movie that's okay. I am glad I actually watched it, I do not regret it, it's just not my favorite thing ever, and I gave it 3 stars. Really quickly, the only comedy I watched for the first time, I rewatched a couple, but I'm not gonna mention them because I already mentioned them in previous wrap-ups of what I watched. So the only new things I watched was Dave Chappelle, and I do not remember the name, but you can see here or here the name of the specific show, and I never had seen one of his shows before or stand-ups before. That was the first time. I did enjoy it, I found it funny, not my favorite by any means, but I still enjoy it, and I would watch another thing by him on Netflix. I gave this 3.75 stars. I think TV shows, because I DNF them really easily, usually what I watch, I usually tend to enjoy. So the first thing I ever watched was Unbelievable, and that's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix original, if I'm not mistaken. And this is based on a true story of these 2 detectives who chase down this serial rapist. And you follow also the story of this girl, one of the first who gets raped, who's not believed. And this TV show was awesome. That's my cup of tea. So let's premise this. This is exactly what I would go and say this I'm gonna enjoy, and I did. I loved the performances, loved how it was done slowly, and at the same time, it's not many episodes, but each episode has the right amount of action, the right amount of investigations and life topic brought forward. I loved everything about this TV show, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I think the reason why it's not 5 stars, but it's really, really close to be honest, is because I wanted even more. I don't know, the end, I felt like it was so cool, but I still felt like I wanted it more. I don't know why. It left me saying it's almost perfect, but it's not perfect, so it's 4.5 stars. But definitely, if you like the genre, this is a must watch. It's also a true story, so this is all true. What went down, it's true. So yeah. And then the best thing I've seen in 2019, 15, why did I say 15? 19, hands down, the best thing I've watched with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but that's a movie and this is a TV show, is When They See Us. And this won some awards as well, and it's freaking amazing. It's the only TV show I had to pause multiple times because I was so genuinely upset, crying so badly. I had to stop this because I was unable to breathe and keep watching. And this is again based on a true story of a bunch of kids, Black American kids, that are stopped by police, brought to prison for a rape they did not commit. And I love this. This is a true story. You see the real guys at the end, and it's really 6 episodes max, or maybe 5, 6. I think 6 episodes, but it's really short one again. So you can really, I binged watch this in 2 days. I could not stop. Yeah, I did stop because I was upset crying, but I could not stop watching. And from the soundtrack to the performances, the story, the way it was directed, and the script, everything was just perfect. This is just perfect. It's 5 stars, hands down, the best thing I watched all year. It's my favorite thing. I also texted one of my friends, and he is like, he doesn't really like when like TV shows go into the racial issue. And I told him this is not only about how young Black American guys were victim of racism and prejudice. This is so much more than that. And he was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna give it a try. He watched it and he told me, I absolutely loved it. It's one of the best things I've seen. And there was thank you for telling me. So I just want to put out there that this is not the classical, oh, TV show all based on racism, and it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. So please give it a watch. If you take away something from this video, please go watch When They See Us. It is worth it. It won awards. It's one of the best things you can find on Netflix, I promise you. The same director had done a previous documentary on actually racism, and you know, all based on that topic, how Black men were like overly represented in prisons and so on. She did a documentary called The 13th, but I actually did not like that one as much. I think I don't know, I got bored at one point. I think she also won awards for that, and I think I was just too distracted when I watched it. But because I just had watched When They See Us, which is a different format done differently and with so much more than just the racism, which is really important topic, I think I kept comparing the two, so this one did not live up to When They See Us, but I think it's still really important and relevant. The second documentary I watched was called Fire, also on Netflix, and this was about a music festival that never happened. So it's one of the biggest scams in the last few years. It was really fun and interesting. It's a guilty pleasure watch if you want, but it's all about how they put up this musical festival. They said that they were going to book an island and get ready for like a fancy, really expensive, luxurious musical festival, and a lot of influencers and models and so on like paid a lot of money for a plane ticket and to get there, and for a private tent, beautiful tent, and then they got nothing out of it. Like, they were scammed. They had to like live in horrible condition for 2 days, and now the people who put up this ended up at the end. And the only thing I did not understand is why all the models and influencers who went to the shooting to like promote this and promote it on Instagram and so on, they got away with nothing. They're being paid to promote the event, but I don't understand how their fame did not suffer from this, because at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility. And so if you promote something but you have no fucking guarantees that's gonna happen, you cannot just say, oh yeah, this is the best thing in the world, you should spend your money on it, and then you have no freaking idea what's going on, and no freaking idea it's a huge scam, and people are gonna be living in miserable conditions and, you know, be scammed and be like robbed of her money, your fame should still suffer from it, because you, at the end of the day, although it was not your fault, I'm not saying you have to go to prison, the people who organize it, I think you should still suffer some consequences, because it's also your job, you know, not just to receive money and shooting a video with your boobs out and then say, cool, come, it's gonna be the end of the world, you know, it's gonna be so cool, it's gonna stay in history. You have to hold some responsibility for that. And it was really pissing me off. All these models, really famous one, just got away with it. And then, you know, oh yeah, we didn't know. You didn't care to know. Like, how can you promote something you don't even bother researching and you don't even bother asking questions behind? Because if I had, they would have found out that whatever they were proposing, whatever they were trying to do, was technically on all sides impossible. So yeah, I did not like that, but I did like the documentary in general. And then I watched another documentary which is like an hour long, 2 hours long. When I was ironing, I was just like, let me put on some Netflix, and it's called like Game Changer, and it's all about this documentary on how some heavy weightlifters can have a vegan diet and still be more healthy, lift weights as much as people that will eat meat. And it's about all these men who went through this journey, who thought that without eating meats they could not have done this job, and instead he finds out that it's doable and that your diet is also important. But having a vegan diet doesn't mean you cannot do heavy lifting or you cannot do sports to the same level as someone who eats meat. So in that sense it was interesting, but because I do not already eat meat, most of the things in there I already knew, so it was nothing new. But I think it would be really interesting if you do not know anything about that and you have doubts about how meat is important in your diet, to go to the gym or do heavy lifting, heavy weightlifting and so on. Then I gave this 3.5 stars because it was nothing special for me, but it can be a game changer for you if you don't know anything about this. And then the last thing I watched was The Dark Tourist, always on Netflix. Well, it's so easy having Netflix and just watching things there. But yeah, I watched The Dark Tourist. Basically, it's this man from New Zealand who travels around the world to the most dark places, like places that are famous for really dark, gruesome things. And I gave this 3.75 stars. I do not like, he's funny, but I do not like his kind of humor. Like, I do not necessarily love his sense of humor and thing, but it gets in some situations that are really, really funny. I did like to explore like parts of the world and traditions that were really gruesome and kind of weird, but we get to some cringy, cheesy stuff sometimes, like vampires, and it was like, are we really doing this? Am I really watching people saying that they're really vampires? Apparently I was. So yeah, that was fun, but I would probably keep watching the second season without any rush. But just putting out there, it was fun. It was a different thing for once, and it doesn't take too long. Like, one episode is 40 minutes or something. That's it. Let me know what is your favorite things you watched last season. Thank you for watching. If you're new, please subscribe. So hit button down below. I'll see you next time. Enjoy your day, night, depending on where you are. And yes, ciao.